Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Namine Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur passed away from this material world on 31st December 1936. So, almost 40 years passed. So there are two phases, prakat and aprakat, appearance and disappearance. So we have nothing to lament on account of disappearance, because Krishna and Krishna's devotees, not only devotees, even the non-devotees, nobody disappears. Nobody disappears, because every living entity, as Krishna is eternal, it is confirmed in the Vedic literature, Nitya Nityana, Chaitana Chaitanana. The description of the Supreme Lord is that He is also Nitya, eternal, and the living entities are also eternal. But He is the chief eternal. Nitya Nityanam Chaitana Chaitana. So qualitatively, there is no difference between Krishna and the living entities. And quantitatively, there is difference. What is the difference between Nitya, the singular number Nitya, and the plural number Nitya? The plural number Nitya is subordinate, eternal servants of the singular number Nitya. Just like if you want to serve somebody, so the master is also exactly like you. He has got 2 hands, 2 legs, or the same sentiments. He also eats. Everything is same there. But the difference is the master and the servant. That's all. Otherwise, equal in every respect. So spiritually, appearance and disappearance, there is no difference. Just like in material point of view, if a person takes birth, suppose you get a son born, you become very happy. The same son, when passes away, you become very unhappy. This is material. And spiritually, there is no such difference. Appearance or disappearance. So although this is the disappearance day of Om Vishnu's Srisrimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, so there is nothing to be lamented. Although we feel separation, that feeling is there, but spiritually there is no difference between appearance and disappearance. There is a song, Narottam Das Thakur's song, Jyanila Premodhana. Do you know anyone of you? Can you sing that song, anyone? Jyanila Premodhana Karuna Prachur Eno Prabhu kotha gala. I don't remember exactly the whole song. That is our lamentation. That's Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur brought this message to distribute all over. Of course, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu uh, expressed his desire that পৃথিবীতে আছে যত নগরাদি গ্রাম সর্বত্র প্রচার হইবে মোর নাম. He predicted that all over the world, as many towns and villages are there, everywhere my name will be known. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's name, which is now attempted now, it is being actually. To execute this will of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said personally, ভারত ভূমিতে মনুষ্য জন্ম হইল যার জন্ম সার্থক করি করো পরোপকার. He wanted that his name should be broadcast all over the world, in every town, every village. And who would do it? That he asked that anyone who has taken birth in Bharatvarsha, India, it is his duty, first of all, make himself perfect by understanding the philosophy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then broadcast it, distribute it. This was the duty of every Indian. The Indian, especially in India, they have got the privilege to take advantage of the Vedic literature. In other countries, there is no such advantage. So, if anyone wants to make his life perfect, then he has to take advantage of the vast treasure house of Indian spiritual knowledge. Even one Chinese gentleman, he has written one book about religion, that is a course in New York University. So he has said that if you want to know something of religion, then you have to go to India. That's a fact. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that every Indian, there is a need of broadcasting this Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. So it is the duty of every Indian to, first of all, make his life perfect. He must know. Perfection means he must know what is his position and what he has to do. That is perfection. At the present moment, people do not know what he is, even whether he is this body or something extra. The big scientists, they are also failure. This is perfection. First of all, one must know what he is, whether he is this body or something beyond this body. This is the beginning of spiritual knowledge. So that advantage is there in India by culture, by education. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu requested that Indians, Bharatiya, Bharatvarsha, those who have taken birth as human beings, he doesn't speak to the animals. Bharat Bhumite Manusya Janma. Manusya Janma means human being. Because without being human being, nobody can understand these things. The cats and dogs, they cannot understand. So a person whose behavior is like cats and dogs, he also cannot understand. Uh, Therefore he said, Janma sarthak kori. First of all, make your life perfect and then distribute this knowledge. This is the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. So he simply said, but he was expecting that in later days his followers would do that. So that attempt was made by Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he desired and that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message it should be accepted by East and West equally. And both the Indians and the Europeans, Americans, they should dance together in ecstasy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. That was his desire, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He simply expressed this desire. When I shall see this happening, that both the Eastern and Western people, they are united on the basis of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's cult and dancing together in ecstasy. That was his ambition. This was ambition of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and this was the ambition of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur took up this affair, business, and he wanted, first of all. So, every student, any disciple, especially those who are competent, he requested that you take up this mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and preach in the Western countries. That was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur first attempt. Before that, even the Acharyas, Rupanuga, Goswamis, they left literature, but they did not attempt to preach practically. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was very, very anxious to preach this Chaitanya cult in the Western countries. That is, see, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's special contribution. So, when I met Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, it is a long story how I met him. One of my friends, he dragged me. I was at that time nationalist and manager in a big chemical factory. My age was about 24 years. So one of my friend, he asked me, there is a nice sadhu, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he has come in Calcutta. So let us go and see. So I was reluctant. I thought, just like, so there are so many sadhus. So I am not very much, because I had very bad experience. Not very good. So I said, this kind of sadhus there are many. You'll be glad to know that even in young age or early age, it was Krishna's grace, even amongst my young friends, I was considered the leader. In my school days, in my college days, in my private friendship, somehow or other, I became their leader. And one astrologer, sometimes he read my hands. He said in Hindi, Hukum chalega. Hukum chalega means your hand speaks that your order will be executed. So anyway, it was Krishna's says, I would not go. But their point of view was that unless I certify that sadhu, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he will not be accepted. Therefore he dragged me. So I went to see Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur on that day. On the first meeting, just we offer our obeisances. It is the practice. So immediately began his talking that you are all educated young men. Why didn't you take us Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's cult and preach all over the English-knowing public? Why didn't you take up this matter? So I argued with him in some way. At that time I was nationalist. So I told that who will accept our message? We are dependent nation. Nobody will care. In this way, in my own way, in these younger days. But we belong to the Vaishnava family. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda, Radha Govinda. That is our worshipful duty, worshipful deity. So, I was very glad that Radha Krishna cult, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this sadhu is trying to preach. It is very nice. So, at that time we had some talks, and of course I was defeated by his argument, my argument. And then when we came out, we are offered prasadam, very nice treatment, it's a Gaudiya Math. And when I came out on the street, this my friend asked me, what is your opinion of this sadhu? Then I said that here is the right person who has taken out Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message and now it will be distributed. So I was, at that time, a fool. But I opined like this, and I accepted him as my spiritual master immediately. Not officially, but in my heart. That was in 1922. Then, in 1923, I left Calcutta on my business tour, and I made my headquarters at Allahabad. Allahabad is about 500 miles from Calcutta. So I was thinking that I met a very nice, saintly person. That was my thinking, always. So in this way, in 1928, there was a Kumbh Mela. At that time, these Gaudiya people came to Allahabad to establish a center there. And somebody informed them that you go to that Prayag pharmacy. My drug shop was named as Prayag Pharmacy. My name was also there. You go and see Abhay Babu. He is religiously, he will help you. These Gaudiya people, they came to me. So, sir, we have come to you. We have heard your good name. So we want to start a temple here. Please try to help us. Because I was thinking of these Gaudiya people that I met, very nice, saintly person. As soon as I saw them, I was very much glad. Oh, here are these persons. They have come again. So in this way, gradually, I became attached to these Gaudiya Math activities, and by the grace of Krishna, My business also was not going very well. Yes. Krishna says, Jasahon Anigrindami Hariseta Dhanam Sani. If somebody wants to be actually devotee of Krishna, at the same time keeps his material attachment, then Krishna's business is he takes away everything material so that same person he becomes, I mean to say, dependent on Krishna. So that actually happened to my life. I was obliged to come to this movement, to take up this very seriously. And I was dreaming that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is calling me, please come out with me. So I was sometimes horrified. Oh, what is this? I have to give up my family life. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is calling me. I have to take sannyas. Oh, I was horrified. But I saw several times calling me. So anyway, it is by his grace I was forced to give up my family life and so-called business life. And he brought me somewhere or other in preaching his gospel. So, this is a memorable day. What he deserved, I am trying little bit, and you are all helping me. So I have to thank you more. You are actually representative of my Guru Maharaj. Because you are helping me in executing the order of my Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Thank you for coming. Amazing class by Srila Prabhupada. What we're going to do now is we'll start the offerings, but before we do that, we just have to reshuffle a little bit. So maybe the men on this side, women on that side, we all face Prabhupada. But before you start moving, I just want to hand it over to Vishakha Mataji to say a few words. And yeah.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we welcome Pragosh Prabhu, who has come today to be our servant of ceremonies for this very auspicious day. We'll be having offerings from the devotees, and also we have gifts for the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. So thank you so much for coming. Please gather all spiritual strength from the activities today. Such an auspicious time to become serious in Krishna consciousness. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, if we can all reshuffle now. Thank you so much.
not seen him very often, but he's still very involved. Yes, I just set up a website. See what it goes. I'm just testing it out now. Just literally set it up. So it's still early days yet. Just choosing things around management of it. But I'm very happy with it. We've got simple, straightforward. It's really where it's going to go. It's organising devotees to exchange with each other. Before the 15th.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jayanilo Premadana Karuna Pracho Jayanilo Premadana Karuna Pracho Ena Prabha Kotagela Charya Tako Ena Prabha Kotagela Charya Tako Kahamora Rupa Kaha Sanatan Kaha Dasara Gunata Patita Pavan Kahamora Bata Yuga Kaha Kavira Kahamora Bata Yuga Kaha Kavira Eka Kale Kota Gela Gora Nataraj Eka Kale Kota Gela Gora Nataraj Pashane Kutibo Mata Anale Pashibo Pashane Kutibo Mata Anale Pashibo Gauranga Gunera Nidhi Kota Gele Babo Gauranga Gunera Nidhi Kota Gele Babo Se Sabha Sangire Sange Joy Koilo Vilas Se Sabha Sangira Sange Ye Koilo Vilas Se Sangana Paya Kande Narotamodas Se Sangana Paya Kande Narotamodas Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. He who brought the treasure of divine love and who was filled with compassion and mercy, where has such a personality as Srinivas Acharya gone? Where am I, Swarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where are my Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta? And where is Krishnadas Kaviraj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? I will smash my head against the rock and enter into the fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all of these devotees, in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottam Das simply weeps. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, everybody, and welcome to Srila Prabhupada's Disappearance Day festivities today. Actually, listening to that class, and particularly the end of that class, where it is very emotional, Srila Prabhupada gets very emotional, but for somebody like me, it's very inspirational. Because when Prabhupada was giving that class, and particularly at the end, where he's saying thank you to all of his disciples who are helping him to spread the movement, at that point, obviously everybody was a Srila Prabhupada disciple. So it's so nice for me, who isn't a direct disciple of Srila Prabhupada, to see the appreciation and to hear in his voice the appreciation that he has for his disciples who are helping him to fulfill the mission of his Guru Maharaj. As he said at the beginning, or not at the beginning, but during the class, that his friend Narendranath Mullik had to drag him to see Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj. I think Prabhupada sometimes uses the word force. He forced me to come and see Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, because Prabhupada's experience up to that point with sadhus, I think he explains that they would sometimes come to his house and they'd be smoking ganja, etc. So he wasn't so impressed with them. So he wasn't interested in going, so his friend had to drag him there. And then, of course, Prabhupada became the foremost proponent, if you like, of fulfilling Lord Chaitanya's mission of spreading the Hare Krishna movement to every town and village. But he couldn't do that on his own. There's that wonderful verse where Lord Chaitanya is saying that he can't spread the Sankirtan mission on his own. He needs the help of others. So Prabhupada also needed that help. And that's why I guess he was getting so emotional at the end of that class, thanking all of his disciples for helping them. So therefore, for me and many devotees in this room like me, it's very inspirational, but also appropriate that we appreciate Srila Prabhupada's direct disciples, because actually, without them, many of us wouldn't have come to the movement, because it wasn't that we met Srila Prabhupada, and some of us wouldn't necessarily have got a book of Srila Prabhupada first. Some of us would have, but not all of us. So, and if we did get a book, it would invariably have been distributed to us by a Prabhupada disciple. So from that point of view, it's just very appropriate, I think, for myself, and I'm sure for all the other non-Prabhupada disciples, to be here today to appreciate all of Srila Prabhupada's direct disciples. So thank you all very much for bringing all of us to the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. And in that, connected to that, there was an initiative that essentially came from some Russian devotees that they had the idea about 18 months ago or so, maybe a bit more, a bit longer than that. And they wanted to give a gift to devotees. And they started with the GBC members, but then the GBC members asked them, would they consider gradually expanding this program, this gift program, Gift of Prabhupada. And they agreed to do that. Now, and that's what's here today on the table. Now, what's here is a lovely murti of Srila Prabhupada, which obviously you'll see shortly. But like everything in the material world, there's a cost attached. So I think the cost price of them, for want of a better word, is around £50. So when they were asked to expand the program, they had to take that into consideration. So they were thinking, well, how far do we expand this and how much is this going to cost? With 32, 34 GBC members, it's not so much, you know, but then how far more do you expand it? So the next step that they committed to, which was quite a step, you know, it's not a small step, was, well, then what we'll do is we will make them available and gift them to all of Srila Prabhupada's disciples. So for all of us who aren't Srila Prabhupada disciples, please don't be upset, but it's just a practical thing. We have encouraged them and we continue to encourage them to expand it further. So I think they will do that, but in stages. But this next stage is to all of Srila Prabhupada's disciples. Okay. By the way, one other thought that came to my mind when I was walking here from the old post house this morning was that story of Srila Prabhupada about London, when he was asked about, I think he was explaining the origins of the phrase "good morning," which of course is a universal phrase now. Good morning, everyone uses it all over the world. But essentially, according to Prabhupada, it came from England, and it came from the fact that there are so many days where you don't have sunshine. On those days where you do have sunshine, it's the same for Ireland, by the way, of course, as you know, even worse over there, I think. On the days that you do have sunshine, that's where it came from. People would say good morning because it's a good morning. So this morning when I was coming, I was thinking of that story because Prabhupada had that exchange with the interviewer, with the TV, I think, and the TV person asked, what do you think of London? And Prabhupada said, oh, I think it's like hell, because it was gloomy. He'd been, again, this time of the year, in November, he'd been here at that time, and it's cloudy, gloomy, and all of those kind of things. And then I think Tamal Krishna Maharaj, if I'm not mistaken, chipped in that conversation. And he said, oh, that's interesting, because the British have always promoted England or Britain as the land of milk and honey to the Indians and to India when they were in India. And Srila Prabhupada, I think, said, yes, they promoted so many things. Like they promoted to us that the River Thames was the best river in the world. But when I came here, I said, that's it? That's just a little canal. So, okay, so what we're going to do, what we're going to do is, I think we have more murtis here than there are Prabhupada disciples, so we'll have to figure a way to get those Prabhupada disciples who are not present today, to get those to them. And just to let you know, these are all very personalized. They all have each of your names on it, the Prabhupada disciples' names on it like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask devotees to come and give their offerings to Srila Prabhupada today on his disappearance day. And then as you come up, then when you finish your offering, we will hand you one of the murtis. And in the principle of Acharya, and Srila Prabhupada always stressing that point, actually that's another thing that pops into your mind today, right? I think they're having an election in some part of the world at the minute, and you think of the principle of Acharya, and how important Prabhupada said that what was for our leaders, and how now 47 years since Srila Prabhupada has left, that has only degraded more and more. But in the principle of Acharya, leading by example, we're going to invite our temple president, Vishaka Prabhu, to come forward and to give her offering to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paskya Tade Shatarane. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. On this day, the anniversary of your departure from this world, I want to thank you with all the humility at my command. I thank you for accepting me as your disciple, despite my disqualifications. I thank you for all the service I've been able to offer you, and I'm still trying to offer you, despite my many lackings. I thank you for giving me the company of your amazing followers. I thank you for giving us knowledge that is perfectly aligned with the teachings of the bona fide scriptures. I thank you for your pristine example of how to apply that knowledge, how to truly live it and bring it to the life in our heart, and bring it to life in our hearts. I thank you for exposing us to an enriching, uplifting, and ennobling spiritual culture. I thank you for demonstrating to us how to leave this material world forever. Srila Prabhupada, no one can put a price on the value of your gifts to us. They are priceless. And the number of such gifts you've bestowed upon us is staggering. I pray to be able to one day please you by the purity of my consciousness and by my awareness of Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. Thank you for your incomparable generosity in freely and widely distributing divinity. Your servant always, Vishaka Dasi. Hare Krishna.
And now our first presentation of this Murti. To Her Grace Vishaka Dasi and Yadobar Das. Yes, just to mention that, I didn't mention that at the beginning, that where there are married couples who are both Prabhupada disciples, they just get the one Murti. Just in case you were thinking of starting a family business of selling Murtis. Maybe this is in my previous role as GBC that I'm obsessed with voting, but I'm going to ask you for a vote in terms of how we do this, because obviously all the Murtis are closed. You haven't actually seen Srila Prabhupada. So would you prefer that we open them as each devotee gets them, or would you prefer to wait till the end and we all open them together? Two options.
At the end.
At the end, fantastic. Okay. That's been promoted by Prahlad Bhakta Prabhu. So show of hands, all those in favour of doing it all together at the end? Okay, that's pretty good. All those who want to do it individually? Great. Okay, we'll say it's unanimous. Fantastic. So you'll have to wait for Shaka. You'll have to be patient. Okay. Okay, so who else would like to come and as I always say on these occasions, actually, you know, even if it's to say thank you, because sometimes devotees are a little nervous, a little apprehensive, but even if it's just to say thank you, Srila Prabhupada, you know, that's a wonderful offering also. But notwithstanding that, who else would like to come forward and say a few words? Thank you, Prabhu.
Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Visram Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swayapadantikam. I'd like to thank Pragosh Prabhu, Mother Vishaka, and all the devotees for allowing me to come and speak. I had a few things to say which I didn't write down, And I just thought I'd just express them as they came to me. But what in particular I was thinking, I just happened to be like one of the youngest of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, and maybe at the same time perhaps one of the oldest in this yatra. So it's something which I realize is my responsibility to do something to please Srila Prabhupada. And in particular, I remember Mother Kanchana Bala Devidati, my god sister, mentioning 5 things that Srila Prabhupada wanted for London. He said he wanted a set of books in every home. Secondly, he said he wanted a temple in Regent's Park. Thirdly, he said he wanted 10 temples in London. Fourthly, he said theatre for the British public. And lastly, but not least, the British Empire of Krishna consciousness. So I had tried over the years to try and distribute books and go on Harinam and try and do my little bit. But there was one thing in particular that was on my mind, which was constantly haunting me, plaguing me, which was constantly on my mind, which I felt that I needed to enact. And that was in 2002, I met one devotee, Bhakta Lawrence, and we were discussing the possibility of a temple in Regent's Park. And so we were talking about it then, and he came up with the idea, and I was saying to him, it would be nice to have all the faiths, Muslims, Christians, Buddhists, Hindus, Jews, all chanting the holy name of the Lord under one roof. And Bhakta Lawrence said at that time, like a house of God. I said, yes, exactly. And then it reminded me of what Srila Prabhupada was once said of by an astrologer, that he would build a house in which the whole world could live. So I took that idea forward, and I spoke to many devotees about it over the years. I spoke to Praghosh Prabhu about it as well, when I showed him my collection sheet. And there was one devotee who pledged £1 million straight away. And there were other devotees, Pankaj Angri Prabhu, Mahavishnu Swami, Rancho, so many devotees. But I didn't actually take it so seriously until this year. And I spoke to Mother Vishaka about it also, and she gave me her full blessings. And so just prior to that, on the 23rd of July 2024, I decided to take it up seriously. And so every day I've been working towards that with architects, with planning consultants, builders, and property developers, with a view to getting some drawings ready by the 30th of November this year, and videos and physical models of what the temple in Regent's Park will look like for Sri Sri Radha Londonishwara. And so I've set some kind of milestones and deadlines. So if we can get the drawings done by the 30th of November, and then the videos and the physical models made by the 18th of January, in order to present to King Charles by the 18th of February, then I think that will be just right for us to put in the planning application and build it in the next 3 years by January 2028. Thank you very much.
Karuna, bro? Karuna, bro? Oh, well, I tell you what, you've sat down again, I'm sure your knees. There you go. Thank you very much. Well, as mentioned earlier, Ekaki Amara Nahi Pai Bolo, that I cannot propagate this Sankirtan movement on my own, and Srila Prabhupada thinking that goal of a temple in Regent's Park is something that, would need a huge collaborative effort. So thank you for meditating on that for so long, and no doubt that sincere desire will have it manifest at some point, hopefully in your lifetime. Let's see. Who would like to say a few words in glorification of Srila Prabhupada next? Thank you. Oh, I see. You're... Okay. Rupa Vilasparu.
Usually it's not on a volunteer basis. We're on a basis of you're up, so...
Oh, well, no, I can do that, certainly, that way. But I think it's nice to ask, But thank you, Rupa Vilasparu.
Okay.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharni Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschachadisharni. Dear Srila Prabhupada, when I first joined your society, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness in 1971, I was, like so many others, in awe of you. I was in awe of your character, your knowledge, your otherworldly presence, your wisdom, your logic, and your compassion. Yet, you seem to always credit others, taking little credit for yourself. You especially credited your spiritual master, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. But you also repeatedly referenced the members of the Parampara, the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, giving them all credit for the knowledge and mercy you distributed. On September 2, 1972, in New Vrindavan, on the occasion of your Vyas Puja celebration, you made, among others, the following remarks. These are Prabhupada's remarks. This perfect knowledge comes from God, or Krishna, and it is distributed by the Parampara system, by disciplic succession. The example is just there, a mango tree. On the top of the mango tree there is a very ripened fruit, and that fruit has to be tasted. So if I drop the fruit from up, it will be lost. Therefore it is handed over after one, after one, after one. Then it comes down. So all Vedic process of knowledge is taken from the authority, and it comes down through disciplic succession. Just like I have already explained, Krishna gives the knowledge, perfect knowledge, to Brahma, and Brahma gives the knowledge to Narada. Narada gives the knowledge to Vyas. Vyas gives the knowledge to Madhvacharya. Madhvacharya gives the knowledge to his disciplic succession, later on to Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri gives that knowledge to Ishwara Puri. Ishwara Puri gives that knowledge to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya. He delivers that knowledge to his immediate disciples, 6 Goswamis. The 6 Goswamis deliver the knowledge to Srinivasacharya, Jiva Goswami, then Kaviraj Goswami, then Vishwanath Chakravarti, then Jagannath Das Babaji, then Bhaktivedanta Thakur, then Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, then my spiritual master Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Then we are distributing the same knowledge. End of quote. I had observed somewhat earlier, in 1971, how there were articles in your Bhakti Guided magazine about the previous acharyas in the Parampara, like your spiritual master and Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I can understand that their styles of writing and explaining Krishna consciousness philosophy were very different, and yet the message was undeniably the same. Increasingly, I gained faith in these exalted, intelligent, and self-realized giants of Gaudiya Vaishnavism and became determined to learn more about them. One day, while contemplating the great acharyas whose songs had been gathered and translated by Achyutananda Swami in the book Songs of the Vaishnava Acharyas, I was struck by both the appreciation and blessings that you offered to Achyutananda Swami. So these are the Prabhupada's words again. I am greatly pleased to see this collection of songs composed by Thakur Bhaktivinoda, Narottam Das, and other great acharyas of the Gaudiya Vaishnava community, Sampradaya. Songs composed by the acharyas are not ordinary songs. When chanted by pure Vaishnavas who follow the rules and regulations of Vaishnava character, they are actually effective in awakening the Krishna consciousness dormant in every living entity. I have advised Sriman Achyutananda Swami to sing more songs of the Vaishnava Padavali and record them in books so that my disciples and others in the Western countries may take advantage of this chanting and thus advance in Krishna consciousness more and more. I confer all my blessings upon Achyutananda Swami for his genuine attempt to advance in Krishna consciousness. I hope he will thus advance more and more and never be hampered by Maya. We should always remember the danger of Maya's influence and endeavor to save ourselves from her great power. We must therefore always merge in the transcendental mellow of Kirtan Rasa, for Kirtan Rasa is the safest situation within this material world. Hare Krishna. So that's the end of Prabhupada's remarks. This is the last part, pretty much anyway. An inspiration came over me. If Achyutananda Swami could get all of your blessings for his service and his translating and promoting the songs of the Vaishnava Acharyas, then maybe I could receive your blessings by writing about the lives of the great Acharyas. I was a bit nervous about your warning in the foreword. We should always remember the danger of Maya's influence and endeavor to save ourselves from her great power. On the other hand, Srila Prabhupada, you stated in a letter to Achyutananda in 1971, again Prabhupada's words, "With great delight and interest, I have gone through your 8 verses in praise of my spiritual master. The style is very nice and thoughtful. May Krishna bless you to improve more and more in writing the glories of our previous acharyas and the Lord. Be engaged in glorifying the parampara system, and your life will be glorified automatically thousands of times." End of Prabhupada's quote. This gave me hope. Later, after some 11 years in India, I had managed to accumulate some of the writings and histories of our great parampara personalities, and then for some years after that, and until the present day, I continue to gather material and write about the acharyas in a mood of service to the Vaishnavas, hopefully aiming to increase their appreciation and knowledge of our parampara history. To date, I have written a book about you called Without Fear, which seemed appropriate, considering your name and wonderful history. I have also written other books which glorify your Guru Maharaj and Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur, as well as Gaur Kishore and Das Babaji Maharaj, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, and Srila Haridas Thakur. I am praying for your blessings in this attempt to serve and please you, the Vaishnavas and the Parampara. I don't have much in the way of qualification as a preacher or even your disciple, but I do hope against hope to gain your mercy for these histories of the spiritual titans of our Parampara. I remain at your feet and pray for your blessings. Your servant,
Hare Krishna. Just to mention that Radha Govinda Prabhu is going around with a sheet of paper, just you can put your name on if you would like to make an offering, and then we can call you from that sheet. But while waiting for that process to finish, who would next like to say a few words in appreciation, glorification of Srila Prabhupada? Sarvamangala, you are being fingered. You're just as well you're not in a police station.
Hare Krishna. I was hesitant because I didn't know I was coming down last minute on the train and just made a few notes actually about things I've been thinking about Srila Prabhupada rather than writing to Srila Prabhupada or speaking to him. So I'll try and present it to you, Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Navasesha Shunyavadi Paschacha Deshatarine. Srila Prabhupada, I just made some points that really struck me. The first one is about your mercy. And we hear that word a lot, but it's not something that becomes hackneyed, hearing it over and over again. It's not a hackneyed concept, because everything depends upon your mercy. And I was thinking about the other words connected with mercy that apply to you, Srila Prabhupada. Magnanimity, that it takes so long to really come into the proper appreciation of your magnanimity. And sometimes it feels like I'm speaking about things that I actually have no realization of. And I'm hoping as time goes on that I can actually break through the coverings of false ego so you can actually realize what you have some sense of, but it seems to take such a long time. I think maybe that's the only good thing about aging, that you realize that you have less time. So Srila Prabhupada, I'm trying to, hoping that I can become more authentic and get to understand what your divine compassion really means. I did look up the etymology of mercy, and it astounded me because it says it's not just something it's not just a vague thing, but it's it was expressed. I looked through several things, and something really struck me, because it says that mercy is something that comes from the core of the heart, from a magnanimous person, but then he acts upon it. It's not just a mood, but it's action. And that's what you did, Srila Prabhupada. We were thinking, I think that's what we were talking about in the reading, your reading group, isn't it? Gurchana Padma, that Prabhupada has all these, it was talking about this behavior of sages and how they're always meek and humble, but then we were considering how you are, Srila Prabhupada. You're always meek and humble, and yet you're like dynamite, and you are so bold, and you really defined what's Maya and what's Krishna, conscious. So how can that be? Because it was your... sorry, I'm being so slow. I'm trying to kind of adjust what I wrote. But it was what you were meant to be when you were sent here by Krishna. And you became the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, which is such a bold thing. And you said that on all the books it had to have the wording Founder Acharya A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, which is, some people may wonder, why did you do that? And now we understand that you're not just the Acharya or the founder Acharya. Nobody else founded ISKCON. Nobody else founded International Society for Krishna Consciousness. But you did, Srila Prabhupada. So you are eternally the founder of Acharya. Your loving kindness and acts of mercy somehow have rescued me from the material world. I'm ever grateful to you, and I'm just praying that in these last years I can become all I really desire in my life is to be able to glorify you and to become your eternal servant. You are my eternal spiritual master, and I pray I can be the eternal servant. Thank you so much, Srila Prabhupada.
We'll catch you. Thank you very much, Saramangala. And now Vishwadevi, because she has important service up in Srila Prabhupada's rooms, is going to give an offering on behalf of Kamaduk, I think. Yes. Okay, and you can give your own as well.
Hare Krishna, glory to Srila Prabhupada. Yes, so this is an offering from Kamaduk, Prabhu, who could not be here, so she's asked me to read it. Dear Srila Prabhupada, the passage of time allows us to reflect on memories and sentiment throughout our lifeline in our developing relationship with you as our spiritual master and ourselves as disciple. Those memories can evoke strong emotion of love, and in some cases, a realization that a disciple could have done better. There is nothing lost, however, as at time of utter despair and distress, you are there as you promised you would be in our times of need. Together with the chanting of Hare Krishna and the association of beloved, like-minded devotees, we found our peace and resilience to know that at the time of leaving this body, you will be waiting for us to continue developing our relationship. The apprenticeship experiences we shared with you throughout the years give us the clarity of life, of spiritual awareness, of knowledge that is irrefutable. But more than anything, we have a unique happiness that has been bestowed upon us through this process. This ingredient of Krishna consciousness can never be removed. Memories and recollections are unshakable. Sometimes details can be forgotten or mistaken, but you would not blame us for that, as you know that we are trying. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada, for your love, and I feel blessed to have had your personal association on occasion in the UK and in Mayapur Dham. I remain Kamaduk Dasi. Hare Krishna.
I don't think Visha Devi should get her murti because she didn't give her own offering. Okay, thank you very much, Visha Devi. Okay, so we'll take it till the evening. Okay, okay, so I have a list now that I can call from, but before I start that process, anybody else like to spontaneously come forward who didn't write on the list? The name on the list. And by the way, although we'll wait for the Prabhupada disciples to offer first, give their homages first, you don't have to be a direct disciple to give a homage, of course. Okay, we will go to the list, and the first name I have on the list is Kripa Mahaprabhu. Someone said the passing of time. I'm thinking, given the passing of time, we probably should, on the list, we probably should have those devotees quite close to the microphone. It's taking a lot of time to get to this microphone.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. When the famous film director Richard Attenborough was making his monumentally successful film, Gandhi, he was very careful to make sure that the sentiments of all the nationalists and Gandhi honourers in India would be not offended. So he went and he listened to them as they were describing how Gandhi should be portrayed on the big screen. And they told him ultimately that Gandhi was so great, so wonderful, and had done so much, that the only way that Gandhi could be portrayed in a movie of his life was by a light. And Richard Attenborough listened in astonishment. Are they serious, he thought. And eventually he became exasperated and he said, I'm making a film about a person, not bloody Tinkerbell. Sometimes it's like that with the Guru. We want to put the Guru on such a high pedestal that we forget that Guru is both Vapu and Vani, Prakrit and Aprakrit, as we heard this morning. Srila Prabhupada, yes, dwells eternally because we dwell eternally in the spiritual masters, always with Krishna. At the same time, the spiritual master comes into flesh and blood to make himself available. And sometimes it is difficult for us. I was 3 years in Srila Prabhupada's presence, and something like 47 years without him. While Prabhupada was here, I was very mercifully delivered by him and his instructions. Without his physical presence, we had to struggle. And yet, at the same time, Srila Prabhupada made such emphasis on Vani that we have all managed to succeed and serve him in his absence. So I was a little ambivalent this morning, and I thought I'd read to you something from my diary of 1977 and 1978. Is that all right? As I'm trying to struggle with this. How do we serve Prabhupada in separation? So Prabhupada's been here, and Tamal Krishna Maharaj has told the story of how Prabhupada met Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Prabhupada only says one thing. That was the year that he met Prabhupada. Here's Prabhupada. 1922. And then he becomes sick and he returns to India. Over the next few weeks, gradually, through letters, telegrams, tape recordings, and the original and the occasional crackling phone call, we all came to know that Srila Prabhupada's condition was not improving. And yet, as he was our guru, we did not have the slightest conception that his end in this world was near. Knowing now what took place, perhaps it is inconceivable that a group of disciples would not even think their guru's time with them was limited. But we were praying every day, and Krishna was listening to our prayers. Every round we chanted ended in the prayer, "My dear Lord Krishna, if you so desire, please cure Srila Prabhupada." He taught us to pray like that. The prayer was written large and placed on walls around the manor. We knew that Srila Prabhupada was Krishna's man, that Krishna would surely listen to our prayer, that the Lord had protected him before when he was sick and would surely do so again, that he had not finished his life's work, the Srimad Bhagavatam. And was he not as great a devotee as Bhishma, who had chosen the hour of his death? I remember sitting in what is now the sewing room and hearing that, after many days of not eating, Srila Prabhupada had drunk some strawberry juice and sat up in bed. I remember hearing in the corridor about his disciples begging him to get well, and they could not go on without him. I remember sitting in what is now the Brahmachari library and listening to a tape recording of a discussion from a few days previous of whether Srila Prabhupada would be well enough to be taken on a pilgrimage around the nearby Govardhan Hill. He wanted to go, and some disciples wanted to take him. And why not? He is our guru, and our life is to serve him, they said. Others wanted Srila Prabhupada to take his medicines, to rest and restore his energy. They were afraid that the inevitable bumping on the road around the hill would make him worse. And why should we not try to make him well, they said. He is our guru, and our life is to serve him. And then here at Bhaktivedanta Manor, we did what we always did. We went out to distribute books. For by doing so, we knew we were serving him, and that such service would gladden his heart. Then, one evening in November, somewhere in Gloucestershire, phoning the book results through to Jananananda Das in a pub, surrounded by people laughing at my dhoti, I learned the awful news. We were devastated. The unthinkable had happened. His disappearance was a great tragedy for all of us disciples. He was our life, our soul, and we loved him. We returned to the temple that evening, and for months we grieved. And this is the curious thing, that Prabhupada had prepared us for this, even in his physical departure. But it was not time to slacken our determination. We had to become even more determined to keep his mission going. We continued traveling and selling his books and staging small festivals. More people became devotees. Now my life was about service in separation. Although I would never see my guru again in this life, my service to him was incorruptible. It was transcendental, beyond consideration of time and space, and he could accept my service wherever he was. The Christmas marathon of 1977 was still a massive effort by anyone who could take part. Some of us quartered ourselves on the top floor of the shell of the building that was to be the new temple in Soho. Ron Shaw had trained as an architect and was in charge of the radical remodeling of the entire building. The 6 floors had been stripped, ready for refurbishment, and rather dangerously, we could see through a hole in our floor right down through the building. The Vyasa Puja of 1978 was an ocean of grief. Srila Prabhupada had been with us just the year before, here, right here at the manor, making his absence on this occasion even more palpable. It was not the same as other years when, although he was not physically present, we knew that he was somewhere in the world. This time was different. One of the first tributes to be read was that of Harikesh Swami, Prabhupada's personal servant. In fine detail, He described his service to his master, now elevating each element of it to the highest possible level on a platform beyond the mundane world. It took 2 or 3 changes of reader to get through the 2 pages. As one after the other, the readers succumbed to their grief. By the end, there was a silence in the packed temple room. No one wanted to continue with any more offerings. It was too much. Then My diary from 1978 contains at least a dozen entries in the form of letters to Srila Prabhupada. In them I express my loss and pain at him leaving me so soon, my gratitude for the years in which I had his company, and my hope that we would see each other again. But I also asked him to kindly bless me that I could continue to serve him, and that he and I, through this uninterrupted service, would have a new relationship established in eternity. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you. Lovely offering, Kripamura Prabhu. You're one of those, I guess, relative rarities these days of, a married couple. So we have it. So I think we'll ask your wife to come forward now to give her offering, and then we'll give both of you the murti together. And by the way, I think that hole in the Soho Street floor is still there.
I had a realization this morning. A devotee that, a wonderful devotee that I haven't seen in maybe 15 or maybe 20 years. She appeared this morning at Guru Puja, and I don't know why exactly, but knowing the wonderful devotee she is, I'm sure there's a good reason why she hasn't been. But she came knowing not just that today is Srila Prabhupada's disappearance day, but that Guru Puja would be happening. And every day, Guru Puja, wherever you go in the world, today, for the next 20 years, for the next 50, and hopefully hundreds of years, devotees will gather every morning and honor Srila Prabhupada in gratitude and love for everything he has given us, as Sarvamangala said, the founder Acharya of this wonderful organization. Sorry, microphone's a bit. So I just thought that was a really wonderful thing, that it's reassuring to know that every morning without fail, Guru Puja all around the world is going on to our beloved Srila Prabhupada. Oops, oh gosh. So, dear Srila Prabhupada, I have been meditating on the word disappear. Today is a disappearance. Although this word means to vanish from sight. I know you said in the lecture this morning, appearance and disappearance, they're both the same. You have never disappeared from our lives. You are always the inspiration for all our service, and you are the bedrock upon which we survive. I have never had the good fortune of your Bapu in this lifetime, and so I have always clung on to your Vani, and in that way I am carrying on after your physical departure from this world. Although when a pure devotee departs, everyone feels the impact. It feels like the earth has lost its balance. Also, with the departure of so many of Srila Prabhupada's disciples from this world, there were far fewer present who were fortunate enough to have that personal association with him and receive the instructions from him. And so my realization is that we have to keep Srila Prabhupada appearing, not disappearing, through the many things that are available. We have the wonderful Leela Amrita of Satguru Goswami. We have the incredible films that and footage produced by Yadavar and Vishaka. The amazing lectures that the devotees had the foresight to tape many years ago, even then with quite primitive equipment. The many memory diaries that devotees, godbrothers and godsisters have written. We urge everyone here present and, whoever's listening, please watch, share, listen, ask God brothers and God sisters, if you haven't written or spoken your memories, please do so, because even if you think they are insignificant, they are very significant, and no matter how small they are, there will be something in them. I know when I read, I read Mother Yamuna's diary. She was a great inspiration to myself and my family. It's not just incredible stories of association with Srila Prabhupada. It's not just history, but there are so many instructions in there that can be gained. And so, these things that we have available are all important for generations to come, to keep you, Srila Prabhupada, alive and in the center and foundation of our community. When we see the younger and next generation taking up the practice of Krishna consciousness and being so enthusiastic to serve Srila Prabhupada, we feel your pleasure, your potency, and your legacy ever expanding. Srila Prabhupada, you have not disappeared. You appear and are ever present in London and every street around the world where book distribution is still alive and happening. You are there to hear the book scores as they come in all festivals and Harinams around the world, in your books and your instructions, in all the temples you established and also newly established since your departure, in all the small Sangha groups here in the UK and around the world, in our school communities and restaurants where the taste of Krishna Prasadam touches hearts and where we are training and guiding the next generation. You are present guiding the management of this phenomenal ISKCON society that you have established around the world, and you are present through all our daily prayers and songs glorifying you. I feel so fortunate and unqualified to be considered your disciple, but it is also a great responsibility. Privileges sometimes come, but the responsibility is actually very great, to try and be ambassadors of your love, your kindness, and all the wisdom you shared. We are all endeavoring to please you, to continue in some way, shape, or form to serve you. You are our general, and we are just your little soldiers trying to do a little something. I'm so full of admiration and respect for all those God brothers and God sisters in the UK who, despite being in their 70s and despite aging bodies, are serving in whatever capacity they can to bring a smile on your face. Amongst them are Vishaka Devi Dasi, Sri Kama, Moksha Lakshmi, Sarva and Bhagavata Shraya, Balagopal, Vishva Devi, Sakshi Gopal. Sorry, I've got Kamaduk, who was my Sankirtan leader, Nabaswati, Jagadatri. Actually, I don't think Nabaswati and Jagadatri are in their 70s yet, so forgive me. Manjuwali, Amita, Bogini, Ranshore, and Rupavilas. If I haven't mentioned your name, please forgive me, because either you're not in your 70s yet, or, these are just the devotees that have personally inspired me. I've always just tried to take shelter of the feet of my God brothers and God sisters. We are all endeavoring to serve you out of love and appreciation for all that you have given us. My greatest joy is to take guests up to your rooms and tell the incredible story of your life and your legacy. Your physical presence will always be missed, but you will never disappear from our hearts, our minds, and our communities around the world. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada. Please engage me. I pray every day. Please engage me in your service. And I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Guru Charana Padma. No fighting over the Murti, particularly because I don't think Kripa Moya was listed in your list of inspirational devotees. Okay. Ramnath Sukha, Prabhu. Jai, Haribo, Prabhu. Would you like to give your offering? Thank you.
Om Agyanatimirandasya Chinanjana Shalakaya Chakshu Umlitam Jina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Very delicate. Aha. We need someone to fix this sometime, huh? So, yes, we heard this morning, I was listening on my way over the class by Prabhupada, how the appearance, disappearance of the great souls, the spiritual master, there's no need for lamentation, and that they are the same. But yet, I think every Prabhupada disciple can remember that moment when they heard that Prabhupada left this world. And it's an incredible shock to the system, and it's kind of like etched into our minds. And so the mood of Prabhupada's disappearance day, at least for me, is very different from his appearance day. It's because of that remembrance of the actual coming to the reality of Prabhupada not being with us. Over the years, I've come to understand, to some degree though, that it was all Krishna's arrangement in this sense. We all know that every year Janmashtami comes, and the day after Janmashtami, Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja. So Prabhupada's appearance is eternally connected to the appearance of Lord Krishna, and that will go on into the future. Janmashtami, the next day after everyone's worn out from Janmashtami, got to get up for Vyasa Puja for Prabhupada. In a similar way, Prabhupada's disappearance by the will of Krishna is eternally connected to Govardhan Puja. Govardhan Puja, a few days later, Prabhupada's disappearance day. And this was all, it's hard to say if Prabhupada was orchestrating this or how it all happened, but certainly by the will of Krishna. And part of the story that Kripa Mori was talking about is, on that Govardhan Puja in Vrindavan, Prabhupada wanted to go on the Parikram, Govardhan Hill. He wanted to experience that Parikram. And in instructing his disciples, he created this split, this kind of dichotomy. Devotees were saying, yes, we have to do it. It's the instruction of our Guru. Prabhupada wants to go on Govardhan Puja, go on the Parikram of Govardhan Hill. And another set of disciples would say, well, wait a second, we can't do that. He'll leave his body. But Prabhupada knew exactly what he was doing. He was churning the ocean of devotion of his disciples for him by creating that discord, kind of like a cognitive dissonance that, should we follow our Guru? Should we not follow our Guru? Ultimately, they took it to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, yes, I want to go on Parikram. And they said, well, Prabhupada, what if you leave your body? We're afraid you're going to leave your body. We'll get a bullock cart and we'll pad it with mattresses and pillows and cushions. But you're going to leave it, you're just skin and bones. You've been not eating for months. And then Prabhupada basically said, yes, but what a glorious death it would be. What a glorious death. So in Prabhupada's own unimaginable way, he was actually, one of his last instructions was teaching us the glories of Giriraj. Who is Giriraj? Why did Prabhupada want to leave this body going around Govardhan Hill? Now we know that didn't happen that way. but Prabhupada wanted it. So certainly the whole topic of who is, yes, Prabhupada has given us so much information about Giriraj. It's actually rather esoteric, nectar of instruction, so many places, so many devotees have written about the importance of Giriraj. There's one book out by Krishna Kshetra Swami called The Mountain of Love. It's a mountain of love. Prabhupada wanted to give us the mountain of love at the very end of his life. Prabhupada was able to teach these very elevated ideas and concepts of Krishna consciousness, but sometimes he would teach them in such a way it was kind of like an indirect way. He didn't come out and say, yes, Giriraj is the mountain of love, but actually that's how Giriraj functions. His function is to actually, by establishing a service relationship with him, he brings out Vraj Bhakti. Now, I know here, there's no Giriraj here. My main association with the community here in London is with the Soho Temple, and Giriraj is there, yes. Here we have Vrinda Devi. I'm very happy this morning to see Vrinda Devi on the altar. She also brings in the mood of Vraj Bhakti, obviously. Vrindavan's named after her. But I've always thought, what would the mood of Bhaktivedanta Manor, would it make a difference if actually Giriraj was there as service to Radha Gokulananda? This is something to contemplate. It wouldn't require that much endeavor, but it's something to think about. Would that be something that would be, if introduced to Bhaktivedanta Manor, would it be a step in the progressive way forward in terms of helping the devotees establish more of a connection with Radha Gokulananda, Vraj Bhakti, of course, Sitaram, Lakshman, Hanuman, is a different mood, but Prabhupada's mood was here in establishing Radha Gokulananda first. So I know my coming to the UK, I still feel it's somewhat of an outsider. But it was actually, I don't want to get into the whole story, it's through the arrangement of Giriraj that I even came here. And I still feel that connection. And I still know that going into perpetuity, going into many, many hundreds, thousands of years from now, we'll still be worshipping, glorifying Prabhupada on his Vyas Puja, connected to Janmashtami, and the disappearance day connected to Govardhan Puja. And these are something that Prabhupada wanted us to contemplate. What does that mean? He is not certainly an ordinary soul, pure devotee, Shaktivesh avatar, coming empowered to come and spread Lord Chaitanya's movement all over the world, specifically empowered. Empowered by Shakti, ultimately Haladini Shakti. So this is our Srila Prabhupada. She's actually come to give us Vrindavan as much as we can absorb, as much as we can understand, as much as we can appreciate that his disappearance day is also incredibly glorious and is connected to Govardhan Puja and entering into a mood of what Giriraj has to do for all of us. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Ramnath Sukha Prabhu. And I sincerely hope your suggestion to the manor management doesn't extend your feeling of being an outsider. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Next, if I could ask Bhogini to come forward. Thank you very much, Bhogini Prabhu.
I'm thinking of my memories of the final days in 1977. I lived in Rome. We had a relatively new temple. We'd moved from Piazza Lodi when we reached about 40 devotees and there was no longer any room for us. And we had moved into a quite elegant villa on the outskirts of Rome, right on the old Roman walls. At Caracalla, on the road out to the city of Eiur. And we were quite surprised we were taken by surprise when we received a message that Srila Prabhupada, on his way to England, so he was travelling at his request from Vrindavan to England, and we already knew he was quite poorly, and he was arriving in Rome airport, ostensibly just to travel straight on to England, but there was an airport strike. And so Srila Prabhupada's plane was held up for 3 hours in Rome airport, Fiumicino, and we suddenly received a message saying, this is not possible for Srila Prabhupada to just sit on a plane. We want to come to the Rome temple, which was so exciting. Yet we hadn't at that point established rooms for Srila Prabhupada. So it was a hectic, head over heels rush into the city to buy bedding and clean bathrooms when we came home and allocate an area that was just especially for Srila Prabhupada. And Samaka, who was about to take sannyas, he was suddenly rushed down to Fiumicino airport so he could travel with Prabhupada or bring him back to the temple. As it turned out, the authorities wouldn't allow Prabhupada to, or any of the passengers, leave the plane. He had to sit there for the 3 hours, and he travelled on to Bhaktivedanta Manor. In Rome, we had established a very good rapport with the Indian consulate, and therefore we had devotees from all over the world coming to stay with us while they waited for their visa into India. It was easier in Rome to get a visa than anywhere else. We knew Prabhupada was ill, and he had asked us to come to Vrindavan, those who could be spared or who could afford it. Many devotees came to Rome Temple on their way, and while they waited for their visas, they chanted bhajans in the temple room all day long. It was sweet, it was plaintive, it was full of love. Otherwise, we increased our book distribution and held kirtan all day in front of Gaunitai. We found it difficult to accept Rameshwara's newsletter that Prabhupada was so ill that he might pass away. To us, this would be unthinkable, unimaginable tragedy. We believed if we chanted that Krishna would save him, just as he had 2 times previously when we had chanted continuously 24 hours a day, and Srila Prabhupada had got better. For Govardhan Puja, our travelling Sankirtan parties returned to the temple to celebrate. I think we had 2 vehicles. It was a relatively new program. The brahmacharis went out, and there was a new brahmachari